Lottery reconciliation is one of our most comprehensive modules. Therefore, it's also one of the most complex to set up. There are lots of moving parts to get from A to Z. There's also quite a few operational decisions that you'll need to make during the setup process. So at a high level, lottery items need to be set up, and then from there they're sold and redeemed, and then a shift is closed. Once closed, a lottery reconciliation is performed as part of the shift reconciliation, where games are counted via a handheld scanner or manually. Payouts and lotto sales are entered, activations are declared, and all of this data is compared to what's expected. From there, an auditor can review, edit, and then apply the reconciliation. Throughout this video, I'll use verbiage lottery and lotto, as that's the same verbiage we use in our system. Lottery is referring to scratch or instant tickets, while lotto is referring to lotto or online tickets. Before we can set up items, we need to ensure that we have proper POS flags and departments in place. Since both lottery and lotto items are always tax exempt and have an age restriction, we need to have a POS flag in place to handle those scenarios. So we'll navigate to maintenance and then taxes. From there, we'll choose the POS flags tab. So we want to ensure that we have two types of POS flags. In both flags, they should be assigned to a non-tax group and have the appropriate age restriction of 18. However, one should have the negative flag enabled. In our case, we already have our two set up, lottery and lottery redeem. Here's our lottery one. As you can see, the name is simply lottery, our tax group is non-taxable, our age restriction is enabled, and it has an age required of 18. Our lottery redeem POS flag looks very similar, except as you can see, the negative flag is enabled. We now need to make sure we have our department set up. And here's operational decision number one, how to handle redemptions. In our system, redemptions can either be a payout or a negative department transaction. And there's pros and cons to using each method. Ultimately, it depends on your procedures. If you want to force the cashier to perform an individual transaction for every redemption, you're going to want to use payouts. With negative departments, redemptions can be intermingled with sales. In setting up the departments, we recommend setting up separate departments for lottery and lotto sales. So let's set those up now. We'll navigate to maintenance and then departments. From here, we're going to add a new department. We'll name ours lottery sale. We're going to give it a department number. And then under options, we want to ensure we've chosen our newly created POS flag. In our case, we named it lottery. We also want to ensure that non-tax is true and is lottery is true. We'll save that and repeat for our lotto sales department. Here we'll name ours lotto sales. On the options tab, we'll use our same lottery POS flag. And then we'll be ensured to check non-tax and is lottery. If you're using negative departments, now is when you would create those two negative departments. So let's create those. We'll choose add new. We're going to give it a name and a number. We'll call ours lottery redeem. On the option side, this time we're going to use our redemption POS flag. We called ours lottery redeem. Again, we'll check non-tax and is lottery. We'll repeat that for a lotto redeem department. Now, if you decide to use payouts for redemptions, we'll navigate to maintenance and then tenders. From here, we'll choose our pay-in out accounts, and we'll add two payout accounts, one for lottery and the second for lotto. In both of those, we want to ensure is lottery is set to true. Once your departments have been configured and optionally your pay-in or out accounts have been configured, we'll need POS buttons for redeeming and selling lotto and lottery. If you need assistance in setting these up, check out our video and documentation on POS panel setup, or contact a Lifeline technician. So let's move on to lottery items. So we'll click Add New. We'll enter the UPC code. We'll give it a name. We'll choose a category. We'll assign it a department, and we'll use our lottery sale department we created earlier. Finally, a cost and price. Then we'll save the item. You'll repeat this procedure for all your lottery items. Now we'll create lottery games and map them to the lottery items we just created. To do this, we'll navigate to Point of Sale and then Lottery. Here we'll see a list of all of our current lottery games. We can add a new game. From here, we're going to assign it a game number, which is usually located on the back of the ticket. In our case, our game number is 1564. You'll enter the roll quantity, which is usually anywhere from 50 to 250. This is a $5 ticket, and in New York, there are 50 of these on every roll. You'll assign the game amount. In this case, ours is $5. And then finally, you'll give it a name. If you operate in multiple states, you can additionally filter on which locations get this particular lottery game. Finally, you would map it to the lottery item you created earlier. In this case, we'll use the drop-down list and search by either UPC number or a game. Once you've found the appropriate item, choose it and save. You'll repeat this procedure for all your lottery games. Next up is lottery settings. So we'll head to Maintenance, Settings and Panels, and then we'll click the POS tab. From here, we have a sub-tab captioned Lottery Recon Settings. Here is where we can choose our lottery sales department and lotto sales departments. And now we have operational decision number 2. Based on what you chose earlier regarding is your payouts or redemptions from a department or a payout, you would select the appropriate department or payout account here. Below you have notification sections. Here you can choose users or email addresses that will get notifications once a reconciliation has been performed. On the right side, we have recon specific settings. Blind shift recon, which means can the cashier see the expected amount when performing a reconciliation. Whether or not lottery reconciliation is available when performing a shift recon. If that's set to false, then nothing else here really matters because they're not going to perform a reconciliation. Lottery use multiple Zs. When this is enabled, multiple registers contribute to the lottery reconciliation, so that the recon basically combines the totals for all the registers in that shift. Whether or not the lottery uses safe. When this is enabled, the user is prompted to count the safe. What the safe is are tickets that are not part of the inventory quantity on hand, but need to be accounted for. They'll be prompted to enter in the number of books and loose tickets for each game in the safe. Whether or not the lottery starting ticket number is locked. When this is enabled, the cashier cannot edit the starting ticket number during the reconciliation. Lottery base 0. When enabled, the first ticket number on a roll is 0 instead of 1. At the store level, you can optionally enter in the bin location of each game. This helps sort the lottery games during the reconciliation process if you're manually entering data instead of using our handheld scanner. You can also assign the bins at corporate. However, since each location usually has a different bin configuration, we recommend that's done at the store level. To assign game bins, log into the POS, choose Action, Manage Lottery Games. From here, you'll have a grid of all lottery games assigned to this location. You can choose whether or not they're active here and change the bin number simply by touching in the bin number field and entering in the appropriate bin number. From within the register, lottery tickets scan just like any other item. Simply scan the sales barcode to begin the transaction. As you'll notice, our age verification prompt appears because of the POS flag we set up earlier. From here, based on your settings, you can either scan a license, manually enter a birth date, or say that the customer is visually verified. We'll scan a license here. As you can see, the lottery ticket is added to the sale. To complete the transaction, tender it out just like any other transaction. To perform a redemption, based on the settings we had earlier, you can either do it in line with a sale or by itself. For lotto sales, we must enter the amount of the lotto sale and then press the sales department button. We'll navigate to our button, enter our amount, in this case $5, and press the lotto sales button. Optionally, we can enter a description, and the items added to the sale. From here, we can tender it out just like any other transaction. For redemptions, the cashier will enter the amount of the redemption and press either the lotto or lottery redemption button. As mentioned earlier, if you're using department redemptions, a sale can contain both a redemption and a sale item on it. So if the customer wants to redeem $5 and buy $5 in lotto tickets, that can be handled together. We'll look at that. So we're going to sell $5 in lotto tickets. And the customer is also redeeming $5. So here I can use my department redemption. I can enter $5, choose redeem. So at this point, I have a +5 and a -5, and the balance due is 0, so I can simply cash out the sale. If using payouts, it won't allow me to do anything other than the payout on the transaction. So to do that, we would navigate to our payout screen, choose lottery or lotto, enter in the payout amount, optionally enter a description, and press OK. At this point, the payout is complete. After the shift has been closed, we can reconcile it. We'll choose Action, Reconciliation, and from there, Shift Reconciliation. From here, we'll choose our shift and press Select. The first tab is our traditional drawer reconciliation. You'll fill that in as normal. Pressing Continue will move us to our first lottery tab, Lottery Activations. Here we can enter the details about any book that was activated during the shift. Choose the book from the list, enter the book number, and press Activate Book. Repeat for all the books activated during the shift. Pressing Continue navigates to the Lottery Games tab. Here the cashier will manually enter the end number of each book. If there are more than a full roll sold, full books can be entered on the Additional Books column. As the end number is entered, the total sold is calculated and compared to the system's expected quantity sold. If the setting Blind Shift Recon is enabled, then the cashier won't see the register sales or variance columns. Alternatively, instead of manually entering the ending ticket number, you can use our handheld scanner to quickly scan the longer barcode, the inventory barcode, on each ticket. This barcode contains the game number and the current ticket number, so no additional inputs needed from the cashier. Once all games are accounted for, pressing Continue navigates to the Lotto Information tab. Here the cashier will enter details about the lotto sales and both types of redemptions. This information comes from a small chip that is printed on the lottery machine. From here, press Continue to navigate to Lottery Safe. This is an optional step, and if Lottery Safe is enabled, then here the cashier will enter in every game in the safe. They will enter the details, which include the number of books and the number of tickets. In our world, books is defined as full unopened books of tickets, while tickets are anything less than a full roll. Once all the safe content is entered, check Reconciliation is final and press the Save button. Once a reconciliation is complete, an auditor can access the reconciliation in Control Center. We'll head to Point of Sale, and then Lottery. Once here, choose the Lottery Reconciliation tab. Here you can use the header to filter on all completed reconciliations. Let's choose the one we just wrapped up. Once the details are open, here we'll see a screen similar to the worksheet at the store. It's going to show a detailed breakdown of everything with all the variance information. Since we activated a book, and had a ticket discrepancy, we have some work to do. After reviewing the details, we can click Apply Activations. At this point, it will ask us for our lottery vendor. Once that is chosen, we can click OK, confirm the dialog, and an invoice will be created. We'll close this dialog. We also need to apply our adjustments to handle the inventory for the ticket variance. We can click Apply Adjustments and then Apply. We can dismiss the dialog. At this point, the lottery reconciliation is complete. Our inventory has been adjusted, and an invoice has been created for the book that we activated. So that's it for lottery reconciliation. I know it was a lot to digest, but like all things, check out our documentation and video library to dig deeper. You can also reach out to our Lifeline text for further assistance. Thanks for spending time with us today.